my loves, welcome back or welcome to a brand new video. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Amy. In today's video I'm actually quite excited for this. I will be going over my 10 before the end, so that means the 10 books I wish to read before the year is over. It is actually the 1st of December, so happy 1st of December to everyone. My Vlogmas and my Bookmas series will be starting from tomorrow, which I'm so excited for. So my plan is to post every 2 days, roughly Bookmas content, and then 2 days later a Vlogmas episode, 2 days later another Bookmas one, and then so on like that. So hopefully you will be getting a lot of videos. I am so excited that Christmas is finally near. But that being said, I have so many books that I want to read before the year's over, and I've kind of dialed it down to 10 books that have been on my TBR for such a long time, been anticipated reads of mine, and I want to get it done before the new year. So let's get started. Before we start, if you're new to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. I will be so happy if you did stay. I love everyone that has joined my channel so far. You guys are my little lovelies. I think that's what I'm going to be calling you guys now. Either my loves or my lovelies. I don't know, one of them, because I feel like I say it so many times. I am so excited to tell you guys the 10 books that I wish to read before 2024. So I obviously have 10 books, as I said. These books are, most of them are quite thick, I would say, and I don't know about you, but I still have so many Christmas books as well. Like, I want to read the whole Harry Potter series, and I have about 15 Christmas books. So on top of the books I have here, I don't know if I'm going to end up getting to read all of these ones this year, but these are the ones that I'm desperately wanting to get to, been waiting to read for a while, and I thought it'd be a good idea. So this is not including any of my Christmas ones, so my December TBR is just going to be so big. So let's get started. The first book I have is Before I Let Go by Canon Ryan. I've never read anything by Canon Ryan, so I decided to pick this book up. It's been on my GOODREADS for such a long time, and I thought it'd be time to get into it. This year I've only really started to really fully get into reading like paperbacks, and I'm really trying to diversify my reading, especially because like I'm a person of colour and I would want to read stories that I can personally relate to. Yeah, I definitely want to make more effort to read books from IPOC, I think it's called, authors, because I think they're really important, not even just in romance but all different genres. This one features Yasmin. Yasmin is married and basically decide to get divorced, her and her husband. They have children together, and when they get divorced and stuff like that, they're obviously co-parenting, and within them co-parenting they kind of like fall in love almost, and it's kind of like a second chance romance type of trope. Obviously this is a black romance, if you can't tell by this beautiful title. I know people talk about Canon Ryan so much, and I'm so excited to read her books. I have so many books of hers that is on my GOODREADS, so definitely check that out if you want to see all the books that I want to read by her. But I'm just going to read the blurb. It just says, their love was supposed to last forever, but when life delivered blow after devastating blow, Yasmin and Josiah found that love has its limits. It couldn't save their marriage. Yasmin wasn't prepared for how her life fell apart, but she's finally starting to find joy again. She and Josiah have found a new rhythm, co-parenting their 2 kids and running a thriving business together. Yet like magnets, they're always drawn back to each other, and now they're beginning to wonder if they're truly ready to let go of everything they once had. One stolen kiss leads to another, and then more. It's hot, it's illicit, it's good until it starts to hurt again. As old wounds reopen, Yasmin and Josiah wonder if it is too late for them to find forever, or could they be even better the second time round. So just by reading that, it sounds so good. I feel like it's just going to put me through a whirlwind of emotions. People said it is quite sad, and I just love the fact that, not really that it's a second chance romance, but it deals with issues that people might have in relationships, especially marriage. I feel like a lot of romance that we read is all lovey-dovey, they get together and it's happy ever after, but sometimes that's not how it works out. Or it can be a happy after, but there's sometimes walls and different trials and tribulations that these couples have to go through. So sometimes it's like them getting divorced or breaking up for them to really truly realise how much they care for each other. And I'm really excited to read this book. I've been waiting to read it, and I'm hoping to finally read it before this year ends. So the next book I have on my little end of year TBR, Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is part of a Knockamonk series, I think it's called. The first book is Things We Never Got Over, the second one is Things We Hide from the Light, and then the third book is Things We Left Behind. This follows Lucien and Salome, both of these in the other book. I've been reading Things We Hide from the Light and I absolutely love it so much. So I'm so excited to get to their book. They've been hinted at for a while in all the books and I'm finally going to see what the deal is between these two characters. So at the back it just says this: Lucian Rowlands is a lean, mean, vengeance-seeking Mongol. Determined to erase his abusive father's mark on his family's name, he spends every waking minute pulling strings and building his empire. The more money and power he gains, the safer he feels, except when it comes to one feisty small-town librarian. Although they are bounded by a dark secret from the past and their current mutual disdain, so lone Walton only trusts Lucian as far as she can throw him. So their bickering accidentally turns to foreplay, fanning flames of desire that can't be put out. But with Salone eager to start a family and Lucian refusing to even consider the idea, these enemies to lovers are stuck at an impasse. And when Lucian learns the hard way that leaving Salone is impossible, he vows to do everything he can to keep her safe, whatever the cost. I'm so excited to read this book. This is the last book of the series. This one actually recently came out, maybe about a few weeks ago, which is why I want to get to it before the end of the year. Most of the books that I have on this little 10 before the end are books that are new releases. I want to get them done before the new year goes, because with me, I have such a high TBR that when new books come out, I don't read them straight away, and then what happens is I lose the hype or like the excitement for it. But at the same time, if I read it just as it comes out, I don't have an authentic review on it, just because I'm watching other people's reviews and I'm kind of just saying to myself, oh my gosh, I've got to be with the hype, especially if a large majority of people like it, especially with BookTok, forced to have like the shared universal view of like the majority, even though you might not feel the same way. So that's why I like leaving it at least a week or 2 or 3 before I start reading it. But I definitely do want to read it and not leave it for months and months, otherwise I'll lose the hype. I won't want to read it and it'll just stay on my bookshelf forever. But this one I'm really excited to read. It's the last book in the series and hopefully I can get it done before the end of the year. If not, then it'll probably be a January read, because this book is so thick. That's the only thing, is a lot of these books are really thick. So on top of reading Christmas books, I don't know how realistic it is. In November I read 15 books and in October I think I read 19 books, so I know that I can do it and I will be doing a lot of reading in the month of December, but I don't want to force myself to read and then not have a good authentic review of these books. Next we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is another new release anticipated by so many people and I've read so many good reviews. This one is like a fantasy, enemies to lovers. I've spoken about it before in a book haul. It just follows a woman who pretends to be an elite. Elite are people that kind of possess the land and they have special abilities, and if you're not part of the elite, you're seen as like the ordinary and you're kind of frowned upon and abused. So we have the main character who pretends she's one of those elite to stop herself from getting abused and stuff like that. Alongside that, she ends up rescuing a prince, and because of that she's put into a trial where she has to go against other elites and stuff like who have special powers, which is a competition which showcases these powers. But obviously she doesn't actually have these powers. There's also the romance subplot because the prince that she rescues is obviously one of those elites. So I'm really excited to read this book. I think that it will be a nice 5-star read because I need a good 5-star read. So yeah, that's one of my hopefuls for the end of the year. Hopefully I can read it. I don't know if I will, because again, this book is quite girthy and a lot of these books are like 500 pages long and I don't know if I'm going to do that on top of Christmas books. But I think these will be a good little kind of filler in between reading Christmas books, because I feel like with Christmas books you can get a bit bored of them after reading them time over time. So having maybe like fantasy kind of splurged into it or things that are not Christmassy might kind of like help me. So it's definitely a book that hopefully I can read by the year, if not within the first 2 months of 2024. Next we have Wildflower by Hannah Grace. This is part of a series and the first book was Icebreaker. This one is basically a college romance based on different characters at a college. The first book was about Anastasia and I can't even remember, but this one follows Russ and Alora. These two had a little fling before and they're basically sent to be camp counsellors. Well, they're not sent, they basically volunteer and work as camp counsellors, not realising that they're both working at the same place, and obviously there's tension, there's still that sexual tension between them two, and it's basically them trying to fight against it, because obviously at the end of the day they're professionals and they're working in an environment that you're not actually supposed to be in a romantic connection with an employee that you're working with. This one I think is going to be a cozy campfire read, and I think people said this is really spicy. Icebreaker was definitely spicy, and Hannah Grace, her books are so good. I got this nice sprayed one from the works, absolutely gorgeous, so I'm really excited to read this one, and I really hope that this is a book that I can finish and read before the end of the year. Next we have Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood and I absolutely loved it. I love the fact that she focuses on women that work in STEM, and also the males are kind of STEM focused. Seeing women in STEM, I'm just like, yes, go. The only thing is some of the lingo when you're reading these books is a bit confusing, especially if you're not a doctor or you're not in that field. She brings these female characters to life and I love it so much. This one I have no idea what it's actually about. I know it has to do with like with chess, but the cover is just so pretty. I'm just going to read what it says at the back. Rory Greenleaf is done with chess. Every move counts nowadays after the sport led to the destruction of her family 4 years earlier. Loy's focus is her mum, her sisters and the dead-end job that keeps the lights on. This is until she begrudgingly agrees to play in the last charity tournament and inadvertently wipes the board with notorious king killer Nolan Sawyer, current world champion and reigning bad boy of chess. Nolan's loss to an unknown rookie shocks everyone. What's even more confusing, his desire to cross pawns again. What kind of gambit is Nolan playing? The smart move would be to walk away, resign, game over. But Malloy's victory opens the door to sorely needed cash prizes, and she rockets up the ranks. Malloy struggles to keep her family safely separated from the game that wrecked it in the first place. As her love for the sport she so desperately wanted to hate begins to rekindle, Malloy quickly realizes that games aren't only on the board, the spotlight is brighter than she imagined, and the competition can be fiercely attractive and intelligent and infuriating. I got this book because I was in the works looking for Iron Flame and I saw this was on here. I saw Alexa Ray talk about it and saying how she wanted to read it, so I decided to pick it up, and I can't wait to get into these characters, learn more about them, and I feel like these female protagonists are just chef's kiss. I feel like they're just wholesome, which I love, and they're relatable, and I feel like this book will be it. On the topic of Ali Hazelwood, next book that I want to read before the year is over is Love Theoretically. This one is a book that's been out for a bit of a while now, but I've seen so many people talk about it, give it 5 stars, and I thought it was time to read it. I've waited to read this book for such a long time. I'm so excited. Both these covers are just so cute. This one follows Elsie and it also follows Jack. So it just says here, the many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Howland-Way has finally caught up with her. By day, she's an adjacent professor toiling away at grading labs and teaching thermodynamics in the hopes of landing tenure. By other day, Elsie makes up for a non-existent paycheck by offering her service as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whatever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig till her carefully constructed Elsie-verse comes crashing down because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and arrogant older brother of her favourite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And he's the same Jack Smith who rules over the physics department at MIT, standing right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie is prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but these long penetration looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him, will falling into experimentalist orbit finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice. You can tell why I'm obsessed. Like, I'm obsessed. I can't wait to read both these books. I feel like her books are really unique and it points out a kind of character that's not usually there in other books, and like seeing women knowing what they're talking about, just like, gosh, she's a confident woman, like I want to be like her. Hopefully I can read these books before the year ends. Next we have The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is based off Garrett and Hannah's daughter. I love the off-campus series. I talk about them so much. I'm on the Legacy right now and I really want to get to The Graham Effect before the end of the year. The off-campus series is a college sporting romance of a group of boys in the hockey team and their kind of loves for their protagonist. Garrett and Hannah are the protagonists in the first book. I absolutely love their relationship, and knowing that there's a book based on their daughter Gigi is just chef's kiss. I'm so excited to read this book because I've heard that a lot of people said there's so many cameos of the previous characters in the off-campus series. You get to see all the uncles, Uncle Tucker, Uncle Dean. Obviously the legacy is based on all these couples, like 5 years later or something like that, but I'm really excited to see them and their children. I'm so excited to read this book. I love these characters so much, and to be able to read about them again is just gonna be so good. I am so excited, and hopefully I can read this before the next year. If not, this will definitely be on my January TBR, because I want to read this book so much, because I've literally just been finishing the legacy for the second time round, and I really want to read this book like straight away. Next we have this baby, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. I absolutely love the ACOTAR series. I just finished A Court of Frost and Starlight. I love this series so much. These characters, my babies, I'm obsessed, and this is the final book in the series. As you guys can see, she's a thickum shickum, but we love her. This one, again, I don't know what this focuses on, but I know it's focusing on what plot is already, and I think this one's more politics heavy. Obviously the fourth book, which is more of like a novella, more of like a cozy read, but people said so much happens in this one, and this one is Nesta and Casadian's story to shine, and I can't wait. I absolutely love Nesta. I think she's finally going to get her redeem arc, and I feel like she's going to redeem herself. She's going to show everyone that she's really the best character. Obviously I love Fairy Nesta, she's my baby, and Casadian, the way he connects with her very much got her walls up. He's pushing through them and he's breaking them down with a hammer. He's going bump bump bump, because he knows that she is perfect. She needs to have faith in herself. So I'm so excited to read this book. I'm so sad to say bye to these characters. I will be starting the Throne of Glass series, which I'm so excited. I feel like people said that it's actually part of the same universe, so you might actually have cameos from some of these other characters, but I'm so excited to tackle the next book in the series, the last book. I read the whole ACOTAR series throughout this year, and this series is unfortunately coming to an end. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this book done before the end of the year, but I'm really hoping I can, because I really want to start the Throne of Glass series, even though I am so scared to say bye to these characters. Next we have Daisy 8. This is part of the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. I read the first book, Magnolia Park, in June. I haven't read any of the other books since then. This is the second book. This one focuses on Daisy. I think she's mentioned a few times in the book. Also Christian is mentioned a few times in regards to Magnolia Park, and this one he's in the story a lot more. I think these two are exes or something like that, but I'll just read the back for you guys. It's the great undoing of my heart as I know it. Daisy Yates thought that she left everything about her old life in the past, the crime, her family, and the man she loves. But when her safety is threatened once again, she finds herself back under the watchful eyes of her gang lord's brother Julian and her ex-boyfriend Christian, both desperate to keep her safe. Everything gets more complicated when beautiful broken-hearted socialite Magnolia Parks enters the scene and Julian finds himself entangled with her. Because for Julian, falling in love isn't just unwelcome, it could be deadly for everyone involved. The covers of these books are immaculate. I have the full series on my shelf, so this is why I want to get into the book. I didn't enjoy Magnolia Parks as I thought it would, but Magnolia Parks, I didn't realise this, but she's actually a black female main character, so that's making me want to read it even more. This series reminds me so much of Gossip Girl, and I'm so there for it, and I'm really hoping the next book's redeeming himself a little bit more. A bit like the Addicted series, I feel like the first book is just an introduction into the characters, and for me, the reason why I really couldn't get into the book is I spent so much time reading it rather than reading it in a consistent kind of thing. Like I read some on holiday, then I had like a week gap, and then all that stuff, so kind of like the storyline's not stuck in my head. I'm not really building a relationship with the characters, but I really want to give the series a rest of a chance, because Jessa Hastings, I've heard so much about her. I do like her writing style and I like the characters, but I just felt like partially it was my fault why I didn't enjoy it as much, and also for me I felt like it was just a bit too toxic, even though like I read dark romance, but that's why I want to give it another chance, because I feel like if I read it again and read the series and continue reading, I feel like I will fall in love with it. So the next book is Daisy Hate. Last but not least, I have Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. So I read Fourth Wing. I gave it I think a 4 stars or maybe a 4.5. I really enjoyed the plot, the characters, Violet. I got my hands on Iron Flame. This one's a bit thicker. Excited to read about Violet and Zayden again. I loved them so much in the first book, and the dragons, like this book is just so unique, and I'm so excited to read it. This one recently came out as well, another new release. I actually got it on the release day, but I still haven't been able to read it because I've been reading reading so many other books I had on my TBR, but this is another book that I'm hoping to read at least by the end of the year or the start of the new year. So excited to see what happens with all the characters. Obviously the first book left on a massive cliffhanger, and I really want to dwell back into that world and get into it. I have read that people said it's taken them a bit longer to read this book, so I don't know if I will be able to read it by the end of this year. I will maybe try to read bits and pieces of it, but again, I don't really want to leave it for too long because obviously I will lose kind of interest in it. If you guys want to see a little reading vlog on Iron Flame, let me know. I am excited to read it, and that is the last book on my 10 before the end. Hopefully I can read at least 5 of these books or even one of these books, because I think that's going to be a great achievement. I have about 15 books on my Christmas TBR, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so excited for what the new year is going to bring. I'm so shocked how quick 2023 went. Like every year it breezes through. Like this year I've had such a good reading year. I did set my goal at 100 books. Even for me, that is so many. Like that is really a challenge, because last year I don't think I even read that much. Obviously I didn't even read any paperbacks. I read a few non-fiction books, but in terms of fiction it was predominantly on my Kindle phone, and apart from that I didn't read like loads and loads. This is the first year that I've actually read a lot. I think I'm on 90 books that I've read so far this year, so I only have 10 books to reach my goal. But like hopefully I can do that goal before the end of the year. I will be doing an end of year tag. It won't come probably until New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve, so look out for that. Hope you guys enjoy Vlogmas and Bookmas. I'm so excited to give you this content. Hope you guys are enjoying your first day of December. Hope you got your Christmas chocolate calendar out, you've got your Christmas decor out. You can tell my room has no decor at all, but I will be decorating it for Vlogmas, so stay tuned for that. I've gone shopping for it, so stay tuned to see that video. It'll be coming out hopefully tomorrow or maybe Sunday. But as I always say, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.